Hey everybody, we doing good? We're all right? Want to learn how to onboard people? Sound good? Here we go. So a little bit about me, that is my face. I am currently the talent acquisition manager at Uptake. I've been in the venture capital startup world for the past 6 years, which sounds short, but in startup words, that is kind of a lifetime or an eternity. So I worked at the venture capital firm Lightbank, where I helped our portfolio companies around the country with hiring strategies, interview process, and just recruiting for their teams in general. And now, as I said, I run the recruiting team here at Uptake. I imagine that you guys have probably heard about Uptake, but I'll shed a little bit more light for you guys throughout the presentation. So here we go. Uptake. So we started back in July 2014. I've actually been there from the very beginning. So I've seen it grow from 1 to the over 650 people that we are today. So that's been a little over 2.5 years. So it's been quite a wild ride. Anytime somebody asks me what my favorite part about Uptake is, I say it's the people. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased in my position, but we hire really fascinating people. We always like to say that we hire the smartest person in the room, and then we fill them in a room of the smartest people in the room. So what's something that's really key about that is they still want to learn from each other, and they always want to be collaborating. So, you know, there's been a lot of learning that's gone into onboarding with massive scale and growth in order to make sure that's not a hindrance on our success. So we're a really curious company. We're always looking to creatively think of ways to improve processes, and my personal favorite process has been improving our onboarding process. So what are we going to learn today? So what we're going to cover today, what is onboarding, why should you care about it, and how do you even do it? So here's some common misconceptions. This is really common in any startup culture, smaller company, growing company. You know, we don't have time. We got to get shit done. We hire smart people. They'll figure it out. When I started, we didn't have onboarding, and we turned out just fine. And they signed the paperwork, so that means everything's fine, right? I respectfully disagree with all of these. So why it's important. This list could easily be 75 more reasons why this is important, but I'll be brief and stick to these 3 key points. So it gets everyone on a level playing field. Everyone has a surface level understanding of what's going on so that they can be even better at their role that we brought them in here to do. It eliminates easy, quick barriers to success on day one. You don't have candidates looking around for where the conference room is or, you know, wondering where they should get food. They automatically feel like they're a part of the company and they're ready to go. And then the most important, in my opinion, is it's your corporate identity. You know, your candidates come in, they understand how they fit in, why they're important, and who we are as a company. So being consistent and having the buy-in of everyone in the company, from the CEO to the person that started last week, is really key to the success. So I'm going to tell you some stories. So back in the day, when we first started, we're so focused on predicting when machines are going to break down based on weather analytics, not telling people what the bathroom codes were. So I enlisted some of our Uptake OGs and got some quotes for them. Our first data scientist was given a laptop and told to go. All right. We, again, did not have someone know what the bathroom code was for an entire week, and they would sit outside the door until someone else went in. That person wanted to be anonymous for some reason. So we were also in a co-working space, so you would walk around and you honestly wouldn't know who was even a part of Uptake. And then others were told to sign into Slack to get up to speed. So I'm not super proud of these, obviously, but these were the first few employees, so I'm going to give ourselves some slack. And then, we could only improve, right? That's looking at it positively. So fast forward to today. We've created, branded, and revamped our orientation process to Uptake Launch. You guys get why it's called Launch? You know, you're launching into your career. It's creative, right? Yep. So Launch is a 3-day commitment, a day and a half, your first 2 days of working there, and then a larger group with the new employees hired that month at the end of the month. So I'm going to just kind of go over what we do on every single day. Day 1. So we go over the logistics and we give them all the resources they need to get their answers to any questions that they have. So we go over the office logistics. We give them their laptops. We give them their portals. To our Uptake portal, it has all the information that they could ever possibly question, and introduce them to all of the systems that we use. We give them food. You'll realize that this is common throughout orientation because people love food. You'll also learn that. Culture. So we incorporate our culture on day 1. We want you to feel a part of the Uptake family when you walk into our door. So our values are clarity, curiosity, flexibility, industry, and trust. And you know that because we go through that in orientation on day 1. We do this by playing with Legos. We also have another where we do an improv class and play some improv games that we learned from our partnership with Second City around our values. So this is really key. You want to make sure that, you know, not only do they understand how we like to work at Uptake, but they also create a bond because some of it's a little bit more interactive. So then it's the first part of our different departments that we do. You know, we go over every single department throughout the entire orientation process, but this is on day 1. So something like the leadership panel. So we have our leaders talk and do kind of a history lesson, but then open Q&A. So not only do you understand, you know, where we've been, how we've grown, but it's also just the fact that they're there means so much to everyone in the room. You're a new employee and your leadership team standing and answering questions for you, like that's actually very meaningful. So we also want them to interact with their manager or some of their team on their first day. So during lunch, we bring in the manager and have them sit with them. And then we also do a Monday night happy hour down at the bar in our building. And it's just an opportunity to be more casual, but also get to know who you're going to be working with. Day 2. Day 2 is a half day. So we go over some more departments, and we always want to make sure that we have activities going on throughout the different days. So for example, our UX team does a design thinking workshop. That's really interesting. We do a product demo. So the curtain is lifted and you get to see what the product itself is, but also how to give a demo of it, which is cool. We give them food. You'll get that. And then something else we do at the very end is we do whiteboarding about feedback. So we walk into the room and we say, all right, we've told you a lot of things and now it's your turn to tell us some things. So I say, when you think about your first initial interaction with Uptake, whether it been our site, a recruiter, anything, up until the end of your day 2 of orientation. So that's the timeline. I want to know what we did great. I want to know what we could improve. And then I want any ideas that you've done at other companies or that you just think would be cool to incorporate. And then we show them to their seats and we wish them well. And then we have day 3 at the end of the month. So this happens every month with all the new hires of that month, which means 2 orientation classes. So we go through more departments that maybe they didn't need to know right away, but are still really critical to understanding. We give them food. Then we do a team bonding activity. Personally, we do a puzzle hunt around our office based on our values. Smart people like to solve really hard problems, and that includes really hard puzzles. And then we send out a feedback survey. So they've been there probably for a little bit longer now. They've kind of got the lay of the land. We ask for their advice, their opinions, and then we also just want to make sure that we're incorporating that into our next session. So since I showed you some bad things, I'm going to show you some good things just to hopefully, revamp us. So onboarding doesn't just prepare you to join the uptake team, it makes you feel like you're already a part of it. A remarkable thing about onboarding process at uptake is how well tuned it is to the overall energy and values of the company. After orientation is over, you join your corresponding team. That becomes even more clear, making the transition so much smoother. It's no big deal. So I just want to reiterate something, and that's make sure that you have a really feedback-rich environment. So we practice this throughout uptake, but I want to just kind of pinpoint this about the orientation process. It should not be the same from week to week. It should be changing and constantly improving every single time you go through it, whether it be just the order of who's talking, adding in breaks, anything like that. That should be incorporated every single time you have a new orientation class. So it's better, better, better. And then you also have to be really flexible. Sometimes you create a process and it may be your baby. Well, it should never be stagnant. It should always be changing. So in summary, where to start? I say start now. Get buy-in from everyone. You need buy-in from the CEO. You need buy-in from the heads of the departments. You need buy-in from the presenters that are going to be presenting this content. And you need buy-in from the hiring managers to make sure that they're not going to pull out their new employees during orientation. That's a no-no. They still do it, but I get really mad at them. So that's really important. Incorporate your culture right away. Make sure they feel a part of your company as they walk into that room, and especially as they are just kind of getting into their teams. History. Make sure you tell them why you started, where you've been. It really shows how you've grown and where you're going to go as well. Let them know the different departments that they're in and the flow of knowledge. If a data scientist really knows all about the data science world, they're going to be even better if they understand all the departments in the entire company and how they work together. And then also shows where do you fit in? And then office logistics, please tell them what the bathroom codes are. And then make them feel welcome, give them swag, give them a seat, do all of those different things, and just make sure that, all the employees are welcoming to all of your new hires. And then get feedback every single time. It's pretty easy, right? That doesn't sound too hard. So today you learned how to recruit a Rockstar candidate, but I want you to know that it doesn't end there. Once they join, you want to make sure that there's a smooth transition into being a Rockstar employee. You see what I did there? All right, I'm done. Thank you, guys.